Hey, my name is PolishLynx. Let's continue with the letter. We'll see if anything creepy is happening today. Yeah. Of all the places nearest to the school, kind of takes this one, and waiting for food to be served is as awkward as I've imagined it will be. Not the bad so far. They're a pleasant kid. Surprisingly looks on okay block when he tries. So long as you're willing to look past the tactless remarks or we're not exchanging acerbic quips. It's clear he's making an effort for this to be as fun as possible for the 6-year-old by being chattier, even going as far as to laugh when kind story calls for it. It's an interesting thing to hear from the man. More than once I catch his frequent teased of expressionism whenever he looks at the girl.
And your friend? Did you make up with her?
Yep. She said she just saw something she didn't like. She didn't accept the jellies, though. She told me to give it to you instead. She knows you like the red ones, too.
Well, that energy drink is definitely not going to be drunk. It's disgusting. Anyway.
Very well. Hand it to me later. I'll bring some of them home. I think your Tia would love to have some.
What a terrible liar. He says he dislikes the idea of having children of his own, but it's easy to see some part of him genuinely wants them. What's stopping him? Once Caddy wanders to the nearby bookshelves, after having lost interest in conversation, however, we both revert back to silence. On our own, we have a lot to talk about, aside from a few questions about the other here and there. At one point, he does veer on local politics history. He's surprisingly versed with it, and he can hold a decent conversation without throwing a jibe. Nothing too personal is ever mentioned so far, though. It's too early for those, and besides, I don't like him enough to speak of every minute detail of my life. Better keep it strictly between the silence and the casual repertoire. This whole thing already looks and feels wrong on so many levels. I'm quite sure he feels the same. So when another bout of silence hits us, and it becomes too much, I take to finding something else to occupy myself. Toying with my mobile, turning it from hand to hand while wait for our respective meals. But it will be a complete lie if I say I'm not waiting for some intervention. Something to pull me away from this place. Someone. Ashton's probably at Salem well by this time, working on whatever business he has there. Maybe if I make up an excuse and leave now, I can still catch him.
Cut that out, it's distracting.
My hands still holding gadget awkwardly between us are rested mid-pass by his bored tone. He's been quiet for a long minute now, after complaining about how appalling the tea they're serving here is. Before that, he has whined about how uncomfortable his chair is and tasteless the decorations they have here. Previous to that, he has gripped about how dull the place is compared to the one he frequents on the upper class side of the city. Well, I'm sorry for being a bunch of peasants, Your Majesty. Figures he will lose patience soon, having already grumbled about almost everything his eyes can reach. It's just unfortunate he's turned to me now.
Why don't you just look somewhere else?
I can't. If I turn elsewhere, I might end up looking at the bobfuck right behind us.
Bobfuck? Do I even want to ask?
I don't want to hear it. If it's coming out of his mouth, it can only be either rude or offensive. Regardless, he continues.
Everything looks good. But have you seen the face? True horror.
What is wrong with you? You know, I frown about this in practice, but that mouth needs to be washed out with a particularly potent soap. Preferably by your own mum.
A shame she isn't here,
For whatever reason, that puts an end to that talk right away. He returns to watching his godchild, who has found a particularly interesting picture book and is now poring over it, while I turn back to my mobile. Still no message. Would kill him to, at least send a message. Check if I were home. Meanwhile, Luke's silence lasts but 10 seconds.
What is it with the damn mobile? Are you on a curfew?
He's got the immature act down pat, I'll give him that. It's just like how old is this guy? Has he somehow been deprived of affection during childhood?
And what is it to you? I don't think it's any of your business what I do with it.
It is my business, alright? 1, I'm the one paying here. 2, I'm being forced to eat dinner in a place this stuffed and noisy. Lastly, it's been 10 minutes, the food isn't here, and I'm hungry. What you're doing with the mobile is annoying and distracting, when the least you could do is keep things entertaining while I suffer.
That's your problem? Shouldn't you be more worried about how this entire affair looks to other people?
Oh, I didn't realize this was one. You move fast, Daisy. You could have informed me first, you know. Had I known, I would have taken you someplace nicer. Certainly the kind with better food and plenty of good wine.
Why did I ever think this was a good idea? Did it ever occur to you how inappropriate this might look to everyone?
Why should I care? It's only inappropriate if you make it out to be. Relax, I won't do anything to make your boyfriend angry. He doesn't even need to know we dined out. It'll be our dirty little secret.
He's not my boyfriend!
The words came out with more force than I've intended. By the time I realized my slip-up, his lips are already spreading a sneer. Heat slowly closed up in my face.
Oh, so there is someone. You're so easy to read.
Briefly, his eyes searched my face. I have no idea what he sees, nor do I care to know, but the next second he barks out loud, displaying his movement without reserve to everyone within earshot. In that moment I know I flipped a switch in him somewhere and I've lost my chance to deny his assumptions. I even want to... Isn't that the reason why I've been so focused on my mobile, waiting for another message for him? From him, probably. For a reason to dump this awkward meeting to go after him.
Look how mottled you are. Now the nickname makes more sense. Shy Miss Pink and her cute little crush. The color suits you, by the way. It matches the hair.
It's not a crush!
Classic denial. But in reality, you want him to be yours, and your every move is made to make him notice you. In fact, you don't want him to see you with another man in a non-professional capacity, because he might misinterpret it.
The same thing goes for you, doesn't it? Bloody, yours is even worse. What about your wife? Aren't you concerned she might misinterpret this?
Daisy, just because we tied the knot doesn't mean we have to be joined at the hip at every single opportunity.
Don't be ridiculous! Why else would you marry her if you don't want to be with her for the rest of your lives?
Because, Daisy, she also has other things she can do with her life and friends to spend time with. Granted, I don't like some of them, and I have a few of my own she utterly dislikes. But wifey doesn't have to know my every move. Nor do I hers. Do you know how boring that would be? To be with the same person for all hours of the day, losing sleep over the mere fact they're not with you?
Yeah, that would be true. I mean, that is true.
Or putting everything you have aside to please them, to have your whole world revolve around one person.
Aren't you just mistaking that for something else? Unlike you, there are other people here who don't share the same jaded outlook you have. Don't lump everyone together just because it didn't work out for you.
I mean, I'd say he's a bit correct. I mean, it's not like you are with someone and you just drop everything else and concentrate just on that person, right? I mean, that would be a sick approach.
And you, my dear, are unexpectedly naive.
Sure, there are like higher in ranks. I know that sounds weird, but I guess you can explain it like that in the easiest way. They're higher in ranks than others. But still, it's not like they go to the top and you completely decide, let's delete the bottom list completely. That would be ridiculous.
What's so naive about it?
Just like you, at least I believe that, you don't continue relationship with someone who tells you to quit doing something you like. Well, unless it's like kinda dangerous to you. But you know, if, for example, let's take, you like games, your partner says, no, games are no, I don't like them, so you don't like them as well. Cross. Break up. That's how it works.
If you love each other, wouldn't you want to always see them, be with them, to have them focus solely on you? Maybe you haven't been loved enough.
Oh, it's that kind of thing for you, isn't it? The love is eternal, love is a strong emotion shite. A starry-eyed girl pining for a dashing Prince Charming? What's next? Romantic confessions of love? A grand wedding on the beach? Dozens of spawns running around in some picturesque home in the suburbs? How quaint. Are you also expecting it's going to be sunshine and rainbows after? A happily ever after? Please.
What? I never once said...
Oh, Shirley is easy to read.
And is all of that such a bad thing to hope for?
Woman, I've been married for 7 years, and I'm telling you, it's far from what you have in your pretty red head. Tell me, how long has this song and dance been going for you and your man? Maybe I am mistaken.
Averting my eyes from him is all I managed to do. What does his mere 7 years have compared to the 17 I've had with us? It's laughable if he thinks those two things are even comparable. And I may have never moved past the boundaries of friendship. Like what I'm hoping for years, but what we have is nothing anyone can scoff at. What you have never What have caused that you have never moved past the boundaries of friendship? I bet she's afraid to do that because she thinks if he doesn't want her to be more than friends, it would destroy even what they have now, which is ridiculous. I've always been by his side and done everything with him. I know him better than anyone. But there is that, what I mentioned. I'm sure this is it. No matter what this man is, this complete stranger says, I know there will always be a place for me beside him. And yet.
Come on, Daisy, that shouldn't be too hard. 3, 5, 8, 10, 20.
His words easily seep into my heart like sharp daggers, gradually picking apart everything I've ever been sure of. His promise of the upstairs surface, and my defenses crumble right in front of my eyes. It's no wonder he sees through me, and as expected, he ridicules it. Laughs. Restrained, low and rumbling, a sharp sound striking the air around us, amidst the murmur of people and the soft notes of the music playing over our heads. Also, 17. I can't believe she stood dead for 17 years. How old are you again, Rebecca? Profiles, Rebecca. You're 29. Since the age of 12. Oh, for fuck's sake, woman. Despite acting all high and mighty all the time, I bet she would be able to find herself someone already. If she wasn't basically looking at everything like the horse during the race. So basically she only has the sight at what's in front of her, right? And in front of her there's only Ashton, kind of in this kind of regard. Anyway, his shoulders shake, and when his nerve becomes too much even for him, he reaches up a hand and rests it over his face, as if to hold his glee close to him.
Bloody bullocks, this is just brilliant.
Isn't it?
Oh, mother, why do I always keep running into these things? This day couldn't get any better. I think I'm gonna need a stiff drink after this.
He dissolves into another peal of laughter, but when it's substance, what he has for me are more words. Scoffing, each of them. Their to run from here has never been this strong.
Is everything you said how you plan to act, if that man of yours ever ends up with you? Cling to him? Put him on a bloody pedestal? Let him become the center of your universe? Although with how long this seems to be going on, I think you've already done so. Marriage will just be icing on the top. Like some sort of reward for you, isn't it? for being a good, patient, loyal little girl all this time, never looking at another man.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Do you think what I think? 29 and untouched? If you know what I mean.
He must have been having a grand time with someone pining over him this long. I'm a little envious, to be honest. Maybe also a little surprised he hasn't suffocated from all your attention yet.
Laugh all about it if you want. It's not like you'll ever understand.
Luke falls silent. Directly him is gone in an instant, and his eyes meet mine, sharp and posing. A challenge, but I hold it against him with the same intensity. Because if there is something I won't let his opinion trample on, it's this. What does he know? However, he's the first one who looks away, focusing his eyes back to where Kanye is, and for the moment I believe I've won. Until he rolls the brief enters back to me. The words he drops next, full hushed, hang heavily in the distance between us.
You're right. I won't. But I do know not to mistake love for obsession, woman. They are not the same thing.
It rattles. Out of everything he said tonight, this is one thing that twings my heart. Maybe it's in the manner he delivers it, lack of concept in his posture, or an underlying insult in the tone he takes. The remark is not meant to cut, meant to express his simple truth. This time it's him who holds gaze against mine. Another unspoken challenge, and I realize that if this happened minutes before, I'd already have an equally searing retort at the tip of my tongue. There is none. But the anger is there, ringing at my insides, prodding at the uncertainties I've long kept. Isn't it enough? We have the long years we've been together, we have the memories whenever he needs me. Until other people came in between us, I've always been the one there. The dedication and loyalty should mean something, shouldn't it? I've always been sure of it, and that one day he'll see it for what it is. In spite of that, it is meant under this man's scrutiny, my own heart wavers. I don't need to answer it. What right do you have? I mean, you don't have to answer that, do you? I mean, I would say what he said is rather true. So, you know, all in all, I think Luke's approach to love is similar to mine, for besides, like the part about what a one person relationship does with other things, because there are things that you mustn't do, okay? Like cheating on someone is definitely out of the question in this situation, but yeah. Anyway, but like having friends that someone else, having friends that your partner does like, I don't see the issue with this. It's not like your partner needs to meet up with them, right? Anyway, I need to ask for that, I think. However, those are for me to ponder on. The SARS doesn't need to hear them, and he is entitled to them just because he dished out some profound sounding life wisdom no one asked for. So I look away, hoping my own silence would be enough of an answer for him. And this for a moment, up until warm for his tears prickled behind my eyes, stinging, begging for this, along with every other frustration this dumb talk has built up in me. All because of this man. I hate the fact that he has to be the one to see me in this sorry state. I'm already expecting another bark from him when his expression shifts. Except he panics. In the span of the 3 seconds, his expression changes from indifferent to concerned to utter panic. It would probably have been funny if I weren't so worried by the sight of this black-kid bastard.
Hey, are you crying? Are you going to cry? Stop that right now, woman, or I'll...
Will you shut up?
He clumps up almost before I could finish. Whether this is due to the sudden force in my voice or how I look, I pretend not to think of it. He seems like a deer caught in the headlights with way he's making himself smaller in his seat. but I'm still pissed. I'm tired, and if I can't punch him, I can at least scream at him.
You're an annoying bag of dick, you know that? If I hear another word from you, I'm sewing that bloody mouth shut myself!
He does the trick. Not to the effect I've hoped, but the moment I've snapped at him, the sting in the back of my eyes melts away, and a strange calm overcomes me. A fragile thing when found in the middle of a busy coffee shop. Nevertheless, it's appreciated considering it does last, immediately broken by the very person that put me in this state with a few awkward pats to my shoulder. Done twice. Thrice. And another. Until my patience runs out again and I'm pulling out the book from the back, raising it, threatening over his head. It will surely dent his skull if it slams down at this height. Part of me wants to see that, but I restrain myself. He has the good sense to recoil far. Shotty here shrinks back to his seat and waves his hand in front of him in a gesture of surrender.
What's that book, woman? I already warned you about your little threats. You don't want to see my brand of angry.
Then keep your hands to yourself!
Alright, that's it. People these days, I swear you treat them nicely and this is where it gets me.
You're the last person I'd ever want to comfort me, even if we're the only two remaining people on Earth. Don't flatter yourself.
Okay, have it your way, Daisy.
And stop calling me Daisy! I have a name, you know!
He mutters something inaudible under his breath, although afterwards he doesn't say anything further. For the next time, he simply contents himself making his best out of the paper napkins, folding them into clean shapes without any clear intent before crumpling them in his hand when he loses interest and dumping them in a small pile in front of him. A waiter serves our meal soon enough, and Kylie makes her way back to our table. But before I can take a single bite, he mutters something. The words spoken in the same tone he's used since morning, under his breath, whenever the honest part of himself would show. Despite my rather confusing opinion of the man, I stop short of shoving food in my mouth to look at him. His eyes are on his foot as he speaks, busying himself with cutting a portion of meat on his plate. But what comes out of him only rings true against my ears, above the din of the coffee house.
For what it's worth, Rebecca, I didn't ever think that's all there is to you. Why else would I leave my own goddaughter in your care if you're just some lovesick woman?
He spears a piece of his food, pops into his mouth, and that's it. One whole day with this man, and I still can't figure what his deal is. But for what it's worth as well, I don't think he's an entirely bad guy. The rest of our meal slips by in silence afterwards. You know what's wrong? Look at that. Look at that. Actually, Rebecca has better relationship with him than Hannah. This is crazy. This is crazy, I tell ya. Anyway, the rest for a meal. Alright, I read this. Aside from Kylie's occasional chatter, the whole dinner goes by without another word exchange between the two of us. Sorry, somehow managed to make it through the whole thing without triggering another tension-riddled conversation. A good thing, perhaps. One, because Kylie is sitting in front of us, and two, I probably won't be able to hold a proper conversation with my mind heavy with thoughts. We depart from the coffee house just as the evening crowd starts to thin out. The same wordless silence fills our short walk back to the school. Why to the school? Okay. Except for when Luke gestures at the nearby flower shop and enters without waiting for Kylie and I. He emerges minutes later carrying a bouquet of daffodils with the same softened expression back on his face. Unlike the previous ones, he tucks this one away almost as soon as he looks up at us, and he's not willing to share. Yet my confusion he merely answers with a shrug and continues walking.
For someone important.
I accept it for what it is, only because he doesn't owe me an explanation. He does leave more questions about him, each one as baffling as the previous ones. Those are the last words spoken this evening before we head our own ways. But until I arrive home, I still can't understand him. Here, however, a whole different set of questions await me. And much like every day, it comes with the littlest of things. A lone note greets me upon reaching my unit's door. Its edges flutter lightly against the faint, warm breeze passing through the small complex. My hand stops short of twisting the knob as I stare at it. I don't make any moves to take it. Drop by earlier, you weren't around. And yes, where's Carrie Cat is? I couldn't contact her. Inspector Abigail has a few questions. LIPD stuff, something about her dead co-workers. Anyway, let me know how the two of you have been doing. I'll see you later, Ash. Wink. Ashton's did script lines in his surface. The message he left, short and straight to the point, but not without the underlying hint of friendship. He's looking for Isabella, apparently. Something about the LIPD's investigation of her co-worker's death, but ends it formal tone by checking me. Yes. Another day, the former part was matched with likely prompted the piercing envy I've been holding, while the lantern will probably send my heart a flutter. Little things from him that I want to mean something more. Yet this time only guilt fills me and my eyes briefly shift towards Isabella's empty unit. Looks words repeat inside my head as I do so.
For what it's worth, Rebecca, I didn't ever think that's all there is to you. Why else would I leave my own goddaughter in your care if you're just some lovesick woman?
Have I always been like this?
How would I know? I don't know you for the entire 29 years, okay? I only know you for like, what day is it? 27, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days. So, basically, I'm not capable of answering that question. I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. This selfish? In truth, I intend to call Ash after dinner. If I don't catch him here, invite him to the party like planned. There is time and he's to probably wake at around this hour. But my hands won't move. And perhaps it is for the better. Until I've had the time to think it is true, it will be best if I distance myself from those I've been clinging tightly to. What? Find a different perspective and see things for what they are. With a soft sigh, I reach for a note and crumpled it under my hand. The note needs to open with matches when I enter this time. Maybe after some intros. Wait. Without using the key, you open the door? Maybe after some introspection it would be easier. For tomorrow I have that woman and dimension to worry about. Huh. How did you enter? But you didn't use the freaking key. Right? Whatever. The night wears on without further incident, despite the great number of thoughts swimming inside my head. Come morning, there is only a hush, a strange sort of stillness unlike the ones greeting me every morning. This one's uneasy, tight with anticipation, like a string stretched thin, merely waiting for the proper time to snap. Granted, it does make my day any less pleasant, but the edge is there. Okay, there was something in the journal. Kinda. Luke and Kylie invited Rebecca for dinner as she was about to leave. Despite receiving a text message from Ashton, Rebecca agreed, and the three spent the evening at a nearby coffee house. Upon returning to her flat, she found a note that Ashton left her. Alright. Cool. It's 27th. Okay, Grant doesn't make my day any less pleasant, but the edge is there. And as suspected in the second, I step out my flat and come apart, broken by the voices of two squabbling uploads echoing from the floor below. The quiet was nice while it lasted. Shame!
What the hell were you thinking?
I wasn't. Ow! Could you let go?
Not a few seconds later, they both ascend the stairs, with Ashton pulling Isabel by her wrist. She struggles as she should, but his hold on her remains firm. Freeing herself means having to draw blood, as she attempts to pry his hand off with her other one, or using unnecessary force to push herself away. Neither of which is better than the other. One could potentially end in an accident, while the other means having to hurt him physically. It has the good sense to realize that, at least. However, it doesn't take the desperate edge in her voice when she answers Ashton's temper with her own. So when they go, none the wiser to my presence.
Do you have any idea how much trouble you could get in?
That's why I'm asking you for help.
Is this what you've been doing these past 3 days? Because this doesn't make your case convincing, Isabella.
Rose died, Ash.
I know. Every single person in Luxburg knows. It's on the damn news. But that doesn't mean...
People are missing. Some of those are my friends. And BRC's just covering it all up.
You can't just barge into my office and expect me to do anything about it, right off the bat. This isn't a children's game, Isabella. We have procedures. We have to follow protocol. There's red tape all over this case for a reason. We sure as hell don't investigate things just because some stupid letter spooked us.
Ash, you have to believe me this time. If we don't do anything right now, more people will.
It's been a whole week. This stupid letter prank is getting old real fast. I'm sick of it. It was funny the first time, not so much now.
You're the only one that can help me with this, Ash. Even Rebecca won't. All right, you two are awfully loud. What's going on here?
Both of their heads snap up almost in unison, displeased from his own nature of their faces, but it's a necessary interruption. What can they do? People still in their units have already taken interest on the commotion, with some taking a peek behind the curtains, while others are bold enough to creak open the doors, if only slightly. If they don't keep it down, pretty soon our landlady will show up. Getting a reprimand from her is the last thing I would happen, first thing on a Friday morning, even if this is hardly my fault.
Well, if you want to continue this, you two better do it elsewhere. You're disturbing other people.
Don't worry, we're done here.
No, we aren't. Becca, I looked it up. I called them. I visited some of them and...
Which you shouldn't have done in the first place. Isabella, you're going to create more problems for us with what you're doing. A team has already been assigned to it. Leave it to us.
Your precious team is looking at it the wrong way. Becca, it's not just Rose. There are others.
The last bit strikes a chord, prods strongly at the memory. At that vicious smile already etched deeply inside my mind. The image appears clear enough that at the mere motion of it, I stumble on my own question.
What do you mean? The letter, Rebecca! It's not...
It's nothing. If there's really something going on because of that dumb letter, none of us would be standing here. We've all read it, haven't we? But Rebecca's alive, Zach's alive, I'm alive. So for the last time, this isn't a curse. There's a murderer on the loose, and your co-workers happen to be the victims. Give it a rest, Isabella. It's too early for this shit.
Don't you think that's too much for a coincidence?
Not so much. Most serial killers follow a pattern. I'll tell you about it some other time. And anyway, coincidence or not, the point is, civilians like you aren't supposed to get involved. You're putting yourself in danger.
I wasn't chasing after... is what she's saying.
Will the both of you slow down and stop arguing for a minute? What's this about your coworkers, Belle?
Becca, please don't tell me now you believe this shit.
Sure, in a heartbeat I'll agree with Ashton. That's how it has always been, besides having a very funny, really fair, the very same ones you make every time I ask too many questions. But the fact of the matter is, what he wants to hear from me right now is far from what I've been seeing, sensing these past few days. It doesn't matter what Isabella or I believe on our own. Something good has been happening around me, and that letter she picked up is at the heart of this. Oh. Oh. Oh, shit. Alright guys, what do I do? I'm thinking of actually... Alright, do we continue like being Rebecca and somehow pushing them, basically the fact that she's seen, you know who, already? Like she's been doing so far, right? She saw her twice and she somehow managed to push the whole freaking idea of that out of her mind. I don't know how. But on the other hand, for heaven's sake. Fuck it. Ashton and Parker will be too happy to hear it. Imagine the look on his face doesn't take too much effort. His entire posture shifts the moment my reluctance shows, shoulders tensing, brows furrowing, eyes gaining a sharp edge. He's already braced himself for the disappointment. And it will be a disappointment. Not in a million years did I ever believe I'll be saying this either.
I might have seen her. The woman Belle's been telling us about. The one she said she saw in the attic.
Both of them stare at me like I've grown an extra head, and for a few moments Arshan looks as if he is about to have a fit. A pause threads as it heals after a silence thick enough one can almost hear a pin drop.
You're kidding, right?
Do I look like I'm joking?
Really, Becca? Not funny.
Ash, I'm not lying. Why would I lie about this? It's been this way since the film fest. The past few days have been really odd since we read that letter.
Or maybe you're all just feeling under the weather.
I'm not sick. Don't you think I'd know that by now?
Becca, you're starting to sound like Scaredy Cat. Give me a break.
Why don't you?
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, you two.
Isabel's voice cut her plea through the conversation, abruptly putting an end to the brewing argument.
It's all my fault. This is all my fault. I was only hoping I could fix this before any of you. I'm sorry for dragging you all into this.
She breathes in, deep standing, and in the moment, something goes behind her eyes as she looks away.
I'll fix this. I promise.
Quiet resolve. Same one I saw in her that night from 3 days ago. But this time it burns brighter. Even Ashton wavers at its side. When she looks him straight in the eyes, gaze unflinching, gradually his grip on her wrist loosens.
Belle, there's nothing to fix. The problem is...
Just this once, Ash.
Her voice, false molded like any force, stops him. Along with it, every sound, every noise dies around us, a harsh sounding as if the world is waiting for her words.
You don't have to come with me. But if I don't do anything, I am going to regret it.
Wait, to go where? She lays a hand on his. Gentle, pleading, almost intimate. If one does not consider the circumstances we found ourselves in.
Please.
Ashton will never tell us all. Will never admit it even himself. But it is in that short second that his own resolve breaks. Even the heart, what happened with his hands? The moment the hard edge in his eye softens and he relinquishes his hold on her, letting his hand fall limply to his side. Wordlessly, Isabel steps back and rather, leaving only muttered thanks and a small lackluster smile. Only after the last of her footsteps fade away does Ashton move, breaking silence with one of his sharp exhales, before reaching up to pinch the bridge of his nose in a gesture of frustration and surrender.
Did you really have to tell her that?
What do you want to hear from me then? That everything's fine?
No, I want all of you to stop putting these ideas in her head. None of it is helping. Never mind. Don't worry about her. I'll bring her back here.
He's already poised to leave when my own instinct takes over. I reach for him, gripping his elbow with the same unyielding grip, the action probably by voice whispering at the back of my mind. He's already made it clear he's not going to believe me, but he deserves a word of caution. Who knows where all of this will take us, how all of this will end. You shouldn't be caught off guard, beliefs notwithstanding.
Ash, I know you don't believe in those things she's saying. And you know me. I'm less inclined to believe in those things as you do. But I've seen something. There's something strange going on here. You don't have to buy it. If you don't want to listen to me, fine. But please, try to hear her out. It's bad enough that Isabella goes off like this without telling anyone. I'm just worried something might happen to her if she keeps at it. Talk to her, okay?
As if she trusts me enough for that.
Doesn't the fact that she approached you first about this, instead of me, already say a lot?
A different kind of trust, granted implicitly and never spoken, sometimes too big, too fragile to last. He falls silent for a long moment as he turns it over in his mind. Indeed, all he manages to offer is a small note before he departs, and a promise to at least listen to her without the teasing or the jibes. A favor for me, and the least he could do for her. This is as much as I can do for him, as well until I've understood what's happening myself. Tonight, hopefully, where this is all started, will provide the answers I'm looking for. We'll see maybe. Anywho, that's on the episode, and we'll continue tomorrow. For now, hope you enjoyed, and we'll see if anything spooky happens in the next episode. Bye bye.